morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I want to welcome everyone today to our growing our economy. Yeah. We got a sweet program planned for today, but first I want to highlight a few people, as always. Abaz, where are you at? Abaz and the team getting up early, breakfast, making us feel at home, and making sure the mic works. Thank you. Thank you to Drew and GCTV for being here to record today, allowing us to share this to a wider community. So that's huge. Thank you. We're honored to have Massachusetts Department of Agriculture. I got to say, all night I said I should skip the word agriculture. Unless I say it snow, for some reason I can't say it. But I just said it. Our Resources Commissioner, Ashley Randall. Ashley, thank you for the dedication to our region. We appreciate it. Thank you. And because we knew that Commissioner Randall was going to be here, where's Ben? Ben left. Ben came, dropped off a case of his famous cider. So if anyone doesn't finish theirs, if you guys were at the last agriculture event last year, Ashley Randall will probably take the rest of them home with her. We'd also like to acknowledge Senator Joe Comerford and her district director, Elena Cohen. Just want to say thank you for continued advocacy for our local farmers. You're here, you're present all the time, and we appreciate you both. Thank you. And finally, a big thank you to Jeff, the team at Greenfield Farmers Co-op Exchange for sponsoring today's breakfast. We deeply appreciate your commitment to our community, and thank you. Jeff, I'm going to have you come up and say a few words.
Good morning. Last year I attended this event, the same event, agricultural event, and I have to tell you I was embarrassed that we did not sponsor it. So after the meeting, I came up and said, hey, we'd like to sponsor it, and I've already done it for next year. So. Thank you all for coming and supporting agriculture. Raise of hands if you're a Greenfield Farmers member. Okay, awesome. Raise your hand if you're a Greenfield Farmers customer.
Yeah, there we go.
So the second show of hands, thank you for supporting agriculture in Greenfield, Franklin County. By shopping at the store, you help us pay our bills so we can support our farmers better. Greenfield Farmers has been a cooperative since 1918. That's 106 years. Woo! The last chamber breakfast, I shared some numbers, and Cliff, if you were going to share these, I apologize. Patronage is, we distribute our profits back to our members. There is a formula that we use. The last 10 years, we gave back $2.6 million in patronage back to the local economy. The last 20 years, $4.6 million. The last 37 years, $10.6 million. So I'm proud of my board of directors, my members, my employees, and my non-member customers, which many of you raised your hands. You all contributed to that. That money went back into the local economy. Thank you very much.
How lucky are we that we get to see Jeff at the head table at back-to-back chamber breakfast, right? And if any of you would like to follow the precedent that Jeff has set by being embarrassed that you have not yet sponsored the chamber breakfast, please see me after. But the participation and support that the Greenfield Farmers Cooperative Exchange offers the chamber in our community year-round is just so meaningful to our entire community. If you attended last month's Co-Opportunity Knox breakfast, if you are a member farmer owner, if you're just a frequent flyer to the store, then you know how much Greenfield Farmers Cooperative Exchange means to Franklin County. So can we give one more round of applause? Also to the team, Lisa, for hosting this breakfast. We are so thrilled. So welcome, everyone. Thank you all for being here. I know it was a little dark when we all woke up to make our way in this morning. And I will say I am impressed because I have not heard one person complain. And I think that's partly because we are all so excited about today's program, and also because in a room full of farmers, nobody here has the guts to grumble about an early start to the workday. We are just really so grateful for our farmers, and actually that's partly what inspired today's breakfast. As you know, farming and agriculture are some of the toughest industries on the planet, and so today we're here to celebrate our farmers and agricultural leaders. We are here to learn how we can better support them and hopefully walk away with a better understanding and deeper appreciation for what it means to be a farmer in Franklin County. We've got a great program, we've got great speakers, we've got Clarkdale cider, and most importantly, we have Commissioner Ashley Randall in the house today. Can we give Ashley one more round of applause? Now, this is certainly not Commissioner Randall's first chamber breakfast, but we do have a number of folks who are attending their first chamber breakfast. So if you would be willing to stand or wave when I call your name. So first, welcome to John Fredima and Gio Riccelli from Mass Hire, Franklin, Mal Labriola is joining us from Nalquit. Welcome, Mal. Jody Falk and Kara Silverberg are here from Rachel's Table of Western Mass. We need to welcome and congratulate Kate Minifee here from Franklin County CDC and Food Products Program Director, because she is attending her first chamber breakfast, and then she's also being awarded with the Rising Star Award from the Massachusetts Association of CDCs next week at their annual meeting. Oh, she's not here. Well, we'll just send her good vibes. We have a whole crew of first-timers from GCC. A big welcome to our friends Caleb, Milton, Hannah Milton, Sharon Chase, and Stacy Farias. Harlan Glovacki is joining us from Greenfield Cooperative Bank. Welcome, Harlan. And welcome to Kathleen Kenny, who is here helping to represent the Greenfield Business Association. Welcome, Kathleen. It's not her first breakfast. She joined us last month, but we are excited to welcome one of our newest chamber members, and that is Cheryl Sadler-Twayon, who just joined us representing Touch of Sakura, which is a Reiki and sound therapy and spiritual practice in Montague. And then finally, we'd like to extend a big director-size welcome to Sarah Wilson, who is the new executive director of Mass Hire, and then Meryl, the director of farm operations at Just Foods in Greenfield. So we've got a number of announcements, but don't worry, I'm going to plow right through them. There's going to be so many more of those, friends. Just about that. So first, thanks to everybody who looked up at me and smiled politely last month when I just very enthusiastically proclaimed that our cooperative-based businesses put the us in success. It only took me 3 days of reflection to realize there is no us in success. So thank you to everybody who didn't kind of look at me funny after that. So this is actually a really big announcement, but if you have checked your email since 2 a.m., then you likely saw that we are launching the new Franklin County gift card next week. So this is a huge, huge deal for Franklin County. So next week, we are going to be launching a brand new and improved gift card. It's going to be accepted at dozens of retailers across Franklin County. It is free to join the gift card if you're a business that's looking to sign on. It is free to members. Also, your participation guarantees you about $10,000 worth of advertising. The really exciting part about this gift card is, unlike the last program we had a couple years ago, this gift card can be purchased online. So that is That is great, yeah. So a couple of the businesses that have already signed on, I do want to give them a special shout out. So Greenfield Garden, I think Isaac's here. Greenfield Garden Cinema, Hope and Olive, Brewery at 4 Star Farms, Ryan Casey Liquors. We have about 15 already, and this was a crew that we asked to help us pilot, kind of like test drive the pilot program, and it's gone really well. We're really excited. So check that email, reach out if you want to join, and also keep it in mind when you're doing your holiday shopping, because that is a great way to keep our dollars locally. So it's a good extra boost to businesses. All right, the Greenfield Garden Cinema is hosting a 5-week Clint Eastwood Film Festival on January 3rd through February 6th. So if you want more information on how your business can join that promotion, Eastwood, talk to Isaac after the breakfast. That one was good. All right. You may have noticed that the incredible team at the Greenfield DPW has already decorated the downtown with holiday lights. So now is the best time to sponsor a star. So Hannah from the GBA is here. The Chamber is going to be sponsoring a star. Those stars go up down Federal Street and Main Street. They stay up through the holidays, through to, I think, Winterfest, right? Yeah, which is in February. It's a great way to support the GBA and celebrate the season. So I think you can visit greenfieldbusiness.org if you're interested, or talk to Hannah. And then in keeping with the holiday season, Moonlight Magic is scheduled for Friday, November 29th from 4 to 9 in downtown Shelburne Falls. That's a great event. With our Placer AI software, we were able to track that last year's Moonlight Magic was actually the biggest and best attended ever, which if you went, I think you can certainly feel that, but now we have the numbers to prove it. And we like to think that that's partly because the Chamber launched a pretty aggressive marketing tourism campaign to increase visitation from outside residents, and we're going to do that again this year. So it's a great event, please come. And then the March for the Food Bank is happening the 25th and 26th. I should know, I am marching. So if you would like to join the march, you can do so. You can sign up right on their website. Or if you're not really interested in making that 28-mile trek, both days you can find a walker and help support them. Throw in a couple bucks and help the food bank and support someone. Raise your hand if you're walking here. There we go. We got another walker. So you've got some really great options to support. All right, Santa told Wade to tell me to tell you that he is arriving at Yankee Candle by helicopter on Saturday, November 30th. And that also tonight is the tree lighting at Yankee Candle. It's going to be a great event. So if you have little ones or just Santa enthusiasts of all ages, please attend. And then lastly, our Light at the Fairgrounds and Festival of the Trees is back this year. Festival of the Trees is going to be at the Roundhouse. It's a one-stop shop for really great seasonal celebrations. So you can talk to Sharon, but I think when is Light Up the Fairgrounds starting?
29th.
The 29th. So right after you go to Moonlight Magic,
Yeah.
you can go to Festival of the Trees and Light Up the Fairgrounds. All right, we did it. So now we're going to get on with the program. I just want to start by saying that Franklin County farmers are heroes. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Senator Comerford. You are right. There's one more announcement. This was my idea, and I forgot about it, which is really tracks. I'm actually going to throw it to Senator Comerford to make a very exciting announcement.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you, Jesse. It's really good to be in a room full of such amazing people for an incredibly important program. I'm going to ask Linda Dunleavy to also stand. We have a favor to ask of you. Some of you know that Jesse, Linda, Elena, me, Rep Blay, many people in this region have been cultivating a vision for a restart of passenger rail along the Route 2 corridor. Yes, we can talk about this. Many of you know that there has been a study ongoing that was called into being by legislation passed in 2019. Well, that study has released a report, and that report is compelling, but we're a long way from seeing that to fruition. So thanks to Linda's leadership and Jesse's unbelievable engine of positivity, and many other people's contribution, we are launching a pretty significant piece of news on Monday at the Ulver Transit Center.
And I just checked the weather report. It's going to be great. So we are going to have a press conference Joe will tell you what we're celebrating, but we'll have a press conference on Monday at noon outside at the B. So come find the B or the rail platform at the John W. Ulver Transit Center, 12 Olive Street, Greenfield. It will be 20 minutes, but we'd like to have a huge showing of Franklin County support for this. And Joe's going to tell you the support we already have, which is amazing.
So we have been working together over many months with many people's contributions, and we have put together a list of all lists, friends, from Berkshire County to Middlesex County. We are uniting municipalities, we're uniting nonprofits, for-profits, we're uniting RTAs and planning agencies. This is a not-to-be-missed list. It's embargoed until Monday, but on Monday at noon in Greenfield and at 10 a.m. in North Adams, we're going to have legislators and municipal officials together so that we send a really strong, very clear, not-to-be-missed message to Boston that it's time that northern Franklin County, northern Berkshire County, northern Worcester County was connected east-west like we are north-south now. So we just need you for 20 minutes, hold a sign, and thank you to so many of you here who have already added your name to what will be an extraordinarily impressive list when you see it on Monday. So thank you so much. 20 minutes, noon, Ulver Transit Center.
We can all make that, right? Think what a showing it would be if we all just popped in on Monday.
We'll have signs and banners.
Well, it's gonna be a good time. We should go. Okay, so now that we did that, and she just, Senator Cohen came and sat right here just so I would remember, and I almost missed it.
It was your idea.
This is how it goes. I'm full of great ideas, and I move forward on some of them. So we're here to celebrate our farmers. It is the toughest job on the planet. I cannot tell you how much we appreciate the work that they do in not just feeding Franklin County, but feeding families across the state. So it's estimated that more than 14% of the state's agricultural sales stem from a farm in Franklin County. And Franklin County is home to 830 farms, which really makes farming and agriculture one of the most critical drivers in our economy, which I'm not telling you all things that you don't already know, but we gotta sing out loud, because Chris Larrabee from the recorder is here, so I'm gonna make sure that gets in there. So nationwide, 48.3% of farms had sales under $10,000 last year. So almost half had sales under $10,000. And then 79% of all US farms had sales under $100,000, which is just another reason why today's speakers are really the cream of the crop. They are all outstanding in their field, which is actually where I met most of them, because in this job over the last 2 years, I have had the opportunity to talk and tour dozens of farms, and I just always walk away from those conversations kind of mind blown by how unfairly risky and challenging it is to be a farmer because of global supply chain issues and climate change. So it is a profession where you have to be on 24/7, and your livelihood entirely hinges on market demand and the whims of the weather. Every time, like Linda, she said the weather's gonna be beautiful on Monday. Any time that I tell a tourist or a visiting legislator, like the weather's always this lovely in Franklin County, my brain immediately pops up a picture of Ben Clark fanning his peach crops at 2 a.m. in 28-degree weather. And then I think it's beautiful as long as you don't talk to our farmers. More times than I would like to admit when I am faced with a hard situation, I think, well, if Ben Clark can stay up all night keeping his peaches warm and frost-free, then surely I can convert this PDF. And that is what really keeps me going. Despite the droughts and floods and ever-increasing challenges, our farmers have shown unmatched ingenuity and resilience, which is appropriately the name of the fund that the Haley Driscoll administration put together last summer, if you remember, after the torrential downfall. And to this date, I think that fund has helped more than 230 farmers across Western and Central Mass. And Senator Comerford and Ashley Randall, Commissioner Ashley Randall, and so many of our elected officials really helped champion that fund and also put farm relief in the state budget and really stand with farmers all year round. So can we give one quick round of applause to all of the advocacy that we are so lucky to work with these legislators and with our partners like CISA and the Franklin County CDC who support our farmers day in, day out. So with that, I would love to invite up Commissioner Ashley Randall to give you a little bit of update on what's happening on the state side.
Good morning, everyone. It's so wonderful to be back here this year for the second Growing Our Economy breakfast. And thank you, Jeff, for your sponsorship and all that you do for the community. It means a lot. My family has been a member of the co-op for many generations and really appreciate that that's part of the fabric of Franklin County for our farming community. And thank you to Jessie for her leadership. She's so committed to our farmers that her dog is even named Potato, which I think is a testament to her commitment to the community and all that she does. And certainly also Senator Comerford for her partnership and her leadership. Last year, as we all know, was a really tough year on so many levels for the farming community. This year, despite the drought, and we definitely need some rain, so if you could do a rain dance when you go outside today, the farmers would appreciate that. But overall this year has been a much better year for the farming community across the state. There's certainly challenges ahead, but I would say that I remain optimistic and hopeful because of the community that we have in Massachusetts and the commitment to our farmers. At the department this year, we've really been trying to settle in. I'm almost at my second year now as commissioner, and we've been trying to find ways that we can continue to support farmers while innovating and thinking of new ways to promote agriculture across the state. I know today we're going to hear from some farmers talking about agritourism. Since the last census 5 years ago, agritourism in the state has just blossomed and bloomed and grown by 30%. And it shows that farms are continuing to diversify. Agritourism is a really important part of their business model and a way to engage with community members. And I'm sure many of you have gone to an apple orchard and picked apples or a corn maze or had that experience at a farm that isn't necessarily the traditional way we think of agriculture. But it's really important in Massachusetts when we have 7 million consumers and we want them to know where their food is coming from. So agritourism in Franklin County, as we see, and the Chamber being an important partner in that effort, is really continuing to grow. At the department, we've really been focusing on youth as well. And I grew up in the 4-H program and think that youth development is more important than ever, especially coming out of COVID, and how can we engage with the next generation. So this year we launched our first Agricultural Youth Council, which is comprised of 13 members. This year's class was all high school seniors, but we just launched last week the next round. So we'll have high school juniors and seniors next year. We wanted to broaden it from across the state. We meet on a monthly basis. We hear from them. What are their concerns? What are their ideas about how we can best support farmers and agricultural members across the state? I'm really excited that all of them have now decided to go into degrees or majors that either support agriculture or they want to become farmers, which is really exciting to see. So we're going to continue at the state level to promote youth development and workforce development by engaging with youth. I had the pleasure this past month to read to students at elementary schools across the state, and we did the first Ag Literacy Month with Mass Ag in the Classroom, and it just gave me so much hope despite the challenges around us, hearing from third graders asking about how you milk a cow, or telling me that they did a report in the 3rd grade on cranberries and wanted to know why we weren't the #1 producer anymore and how we could change that. So it was really inspiring to hear from the youth. I will say I unfortunately disappointed a class in Hatfield last week when I showed up in a blazer and jeans, and they asked if I was wearing Kamala's suit, and I said, no, I don't have Kamala's suit on. And then a little boy raised his hand and said, is she coming with you? And I said, no, it's just me today. So I appreciated the warm welcome this morning, and you're all so excited to see me and have me here. But it's moments like that that continue to remind me of the good and everything good that's going on in agriculture in the state. And just yesterday, the Senate passed the Economic Development Bill, which has several ag provisions in it, and thank you to Senator Comerford and her colleagues for prioritizing that, because one of the major provisions in there that we've been working for several years at the department to have the ability to do is to buy land, protect it, and then sell to farmers at an affordable cost. And with so many young and new and beginning farmers wanting to get into agriculture in Massachusetts and recognizing that land costs are usually the biggest barrier to entry, this will help substantially our work at the department and that land access piece. So we're really excited about that. And then as we head into next year, the Farmland Action Plan that we released last year is continuing our focus on land access and land protection, trying to find the balance between housing, renewable energy development, and different pressures on land. The more we can protect and the sooner we can protect it, the better. And certainly around Franklin County, you'll see a lot of land that has been protected, and it's one of the areas of the state that has the highest concentration of farms in the Agricultural Preservation Restriction Program. But that's just another way that as community members we can continue to support farms, is with that land access piece and recognizing how important it is to preserve the land that we have in Franklin County. The last thing I would mention is I had said youth development, but workforce development is also so important. And I know we're all focused on that in a tight labor market, but for farms particularly, labor has become a major challenge. And we have so many farmers that are aging out. What does a succession plan look like? We're working on next year releasing a Climate Service Corps program where we would partner through AmeriCorps to be able to have community college students, so a great opportunity for GCC, to have students that are interested in environmental careers be able to work at a host site, whether it's a farm or someone that's ag adjacent or within the environmental sector, to be able to have a 6-month experience where the host site is paid and the fellows are paid. So that's something we're really prioritizing and looking to launch next year. So stay tuned for more details on that. And with that, I will just say thank you all so much for your continued support of farmers, not only in Franklin County, but across the state, and for agriculture and our food system members. It is hard work, but I'm hopeful that if we can continue to work together as a community, that will be better for it. And if you have any extra cider at the end, you can meet me outside. Thank you all so much.
Just the best. So next, it is an honor to introduce someone who doesn't need an introduction, and that is Dave Wisman of Mike's Maize and Warner Farm. So David made corn mazes and potato cannons famous in Franklin County and beyond, and I think that segue that Ashley provided is really appropriate because Mike's Maize, as we know, does such an incredible job of attracting visitors from all over, and we are really thrilled to work with them and the work that we're doing on a tourism front. So without further ado, David, come on up.
Hey everybody. Yes, thank you Jesse for having me. My name is David Wisseman. I run Mike's Maize with my father, Mike. So as much as I might have made mazes famous and potato cans, I will say he's the one who did it first. So, a quick description of the farm: we farm about 120 acres or so, scattered around Franklin County, mostly in Sunderland. We do have some fields up in Greenfield here as well. We grow everything from corn, strawberries, peaches, blueberries, tomatoes, and then of course we have our corn maze as well. We wholesale to various stores and distributors around the valley, and our produce ends up as far west as Boston, or east as Boston, thank you, and all the way down to New York City. And we also run a CSA that has drop-offs both locally and in the Boston area. And then we also do pick your own strawberries at 2 locations, one here in Greenfield, one in Sunderland, as well as the maze in the fall. So we do way too much all the time. And in our spare time we run the Millstone Market, which is a store right across the street from us as well. Oh yeah, that too. And yeah, it's me and my dad. We have a great team that helps us do it as well. A little history of the farm. I am the 10th generation in my family to farm in the valley, and we have been here since 1718, I guess. And yeah, it kind of started out as like a subsistence farming situation up and down the valley there. My great-grandfather grew primarily onions and potatoes. My grandfather took the giant leap back in the early 60s to start doing pick your own strawberries off the advice of an extension agent at UMass, and that's back when pick your own strawberries was quite the heyday. People buying just flats and flats of berries. I would say that was the farmer's first venture into agritourism, and bringing people out to the farm. Let's see, and he mainly did strawberries and potatoes. When my father came along, he started diversifying even more, growing more sweet corn, other crops, and then eventually in the year 2000, he started Mike's Maze. It all started over a Christmas holiday party, over a few beers, and someone saying, "You guys should do this," as all great ideas start. And he partnered with a family friend who was an artist, and that's how the kind of quirky idea behind Mike's Maze began. We view it as kind of a blend of art and agriculture. Yeah, we've had, for those of you who don't know, I always say we're not a traditional corn maze. There's not one way in, one way out. It's a really bad maze. Basically, we choose a theme, we go really in depth on that theme, we make different games for people to play out in our cornfield, and it's a giant scavenger hunt. And let's see, so back in 2010, I came back to the farm full time, and I took over from my dad's previous business partner in the maze, Will Sillen. Decided he wanted to focus more on his personal artwork. So me and my wife, Jess, took over doing kind of the maze production and design and everything in 2015. And yeah, we've done all sorts of themes through the year. This past year we did a circus theme. We've also done, we did a boat theme in 2020. We did, Alice in Sunderland, and going back, it's been Einstein, Julia Childs, all sorts of stuff. We have a lot of fun with it. Yeah, so we definitely, one of the ways that we kind of try to, I guess, meet some of the challenges like climate and other things that come at us is we just diversify. We have a lot of different things. We sell or produce a lot of different places, and try and have a lot of different avenues for income. We originally bought the store, the Millstone Market, back in 2018, which any other farmers in the room would remember is a very, very wet year, and it was a very, very rough year. So it was one idea to basically have another business, which would essentially, a business that has a roof, which farming inherently does not. We've yet to figure out the physics and the engineering behind building a dome over the maze. So in light of that, we are focused on, doing what we can. So that was why we ended up buying the store. It's why we do kind of all the different things that we do. And it is so that if you have a really wet year, if it really is, rainy here in the summer, hopefully you'll have a nice fall. If it's really rainy in the fall, hopefully you had a nice spring and you had a nice strawberry crop to blaze through. That's the main way that we kind of have approached that, is to try and diversify our financial income streams. I feel like a lot of times when people talk about sustainability in agriculture, it's focused on soil health, crop health, those sorts of avenues. And I think a lot of times people don't necessarily talk about financial sustainability, which includes sustaining the farmer as well, which is often overlooked, and I think a very important part of why we do what we do. Another way that we kind of approach this is that we're always willing to change things, mix things up, and try something new. We try something new just about every year, whether it's adding something to the maze or trying a new crop we haven't grown, a new partnership with a company to try and sell them extra produce. We mix things up that way too. So we're never afraid of change. I feel like if we get stuck in our ways too often, you just end up, you can repeat the cycle, and it's easy to just kind of get stuck there. So let's see. Yeah, so this is kind of the larger mission of the maze and the farm and the store in general. The way we kind of approach all our businesses is being very much a part of the larger community and the larger Franklin County community. And that includes bringing in partnerships with plenty of other organizations to help us. We do a GCC day at the maze, that they can come and basically table and promote themselves. We work with a local, this fall we had a local bookstore, High Five Books down in Florence, came out and they set up a booth there. It was like the perfect additive thing for nice quiet reading space for kids at the maze when they didn't want to, be watching potato cannons or jumping on the jump pad. And it's a focus of ours, because I feel like it's definitely important to realize that, the more you can be out in the community and bring the community in and make a great space for them to be, the better it is for everyone. And it's only additive to find those collaborations within the community. And I think Franklin County is kind of a wonderful place for us to do this, because we are kind of a weird, quirky corn maze by many standards. We have a certain sense of humor in our maze. We don't always design our games to be, we basically have two games in the maze. We have a trivia game typically, and then we have some other games specifically designed for kids. Our trivia game is not necessarily, for kids. That's not to say it's inappropriate. It's just the questions are a bit harder and they're a bit more designed for adults. And that's not typically the way it is at a lot of corn mazes. They're designed specifically for kids. But we do feel like we get a lot of feedback on people enjoying the games, enjoying what we're putting out there. And I feel like that's very much, because of where we are and the community that is around us everywhere. So, yeah, I think that's about what I have to say. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
I have to stop thinking about what would happen if my husband and I tried to create a maze together, and if we would still be married by the end of that. Now I'd like to introduce Clifford Hatch, who is also on the board of the Greenfield Farmers Cooperative Exchange. I actually found that out last week when I got to visit Cliff at Up and Gill, which I am a loyal Up and Gill fan. I've never picked strawberries anywhere else, but Cliff and his wife Patricia Crosby, who many of you probably know, started the farm in 1987, which was the second best thing to happen that year. But now they oversee not just the farm, but a really impressive farm store. So he's got a lot to share. So welcome, Cliff.
So thanks, everyone. It's kind of an honor at this point in my life to stand before a group of people and talk about the great success I've had in Franklin County. Our farm store is small, extremely diverse, and it sort of matches the land we farm. I look at farming basically as resource, asset, and risk management, those three things. Most farmers' most important asset is their land. I was very fortunate to be born into a lot of land. And also the Commonwealth's view of that resource also. I've been farming now for 40 years. Prior to that, I was a high cuisine chef. When I decided to, or got pushed into returning home to Franklin County and start farming, my family's land really hadn't been used for, it was being used and it was occupied, but it wasn't producing a lot. Because everyone had kind of looked down on that as a thing to do. And my father actually thought I was a little bit crazy to think that I could do that as a thing. But I started out real small. I was just going to farm enough to feed my family. And then upon my father's death, when I got control of all the family assets, which is about 2,000 acres, things changed. And I got carried away. And at first I was going to farm here in Franklin County and down in Hampshire County where most of the land was. But the other thing concurrent with my father's death is that I had 8 brothers and sisters. 3 of us wanted land. The remaining all just wanted money. I got a hold of a very good attorney who had sort of been cultivating farmers because he saw the way these things worked, and he had picked up my uncles as a client. And but I started working with Harley Sachs on divesting of land that needed to be developed and then preserving land that needed to be preserved. And one of the biggest things that we took advantage of was the APR program. That Massachusetts is really a leader in the idea that if a farm's development value is extremely high, the remaining value as farmland is relatively low. So the Commonwealth will pick up that part of your title. The farmer can still own the land in fee, but he sells off the right to develop it. And I use that program to get money to my siblings who only wanted money, thank you, and to get land to my siblings and other young farmers who were looking to get into the business so that they could get a farm at a price they could afford. It was with that, they basically at one point, that I moved most of my farming operation out of Hampshire County to Franklin County. And if you want to talk about estate planning and transitions, I've done a lot of it. The land we farm, basically half of the acreage that I own is under APR land. The other half of the acreage, we farm totally about 200 acres, 50 acres of which we use. For the idea of maintaining it for the landowner, we basically have it rent-free. The other 150 acres that we farm is split between APR land and land that I own. We have, our operation is diverse as the land we occupy. We have a dairy, we have a produce operation. We had a small grains operation, which after 3 years of not being able to harvest a decent crop out of that was suitable for human consumption, I made a vow last year that I was not going to plant any wheat. Still use our rye covers and stuff like that, but I figured it was time to move on. I didn't have quite enough land to waste 5 acres every year. But in our farm store, the grain, so now for our farm store, which has a bakery, there's very little we don't sell. What we can't grow, we get from folks like one of our other speakers you're going to hear, Marty's Local, who has started a great local delivery service of local products that we feature in our farm store. So we have our own dairy items, bakery products, local coffee, you name it. But we're, if you visit the farm, I guess most people consider it very quaint, right? It's basically a 1600, our current farm headquarters is on a 1600s farmstead. And it's a real unique historic aspect to our location. I assume in the location where we are in the upper Connecticut Valley, that the land was open when white settlers first came to this region, and they just saw it as divine providence that they could take it over. But we basically are carrying on in a spot that's probably been farmed the way white folks farm it for about 400 years. We have some very nice alluvial soils, and then we have a lot of rocky stuff and wet stuff, which is what we use as our dairy cattle operation is largely a hedge against climate change. That's our other big risk, is just the weather that we get. The cattle basically can forbear almost any weather, and as long as we're able to grow a crop of grass for them and get it in good condition, we're pretty good with them. As well as, from an employee standpoint, they are really good employees. They spend only 8 hours sleeping, and while they're sleeping and lying down, they're ruminating for another 8 to 9 hours, and then they spend another 8 to 9 hours every day just ingesting, and then they give copious milk. And we sell all of our dairy product right at the farm. We don't participate in the federal milk distribution program. Are we all right on time?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know how I was going to fit all this stuff in.
Yeah. We're close.
Okay. But our farm store has, basically the pandemic ended up being a great boon to us. People that would not ordinarily have, tons of people who say, oh, I've driven by so many times and this is the first time I've stopped. That sort of thing, when the pandemic hit and everybody closed their doors, we remained open, and part of our farm stand is open air. And finally, our open air farm stand made sense to people. It's copious ventilation. It's always been a pain to us in terms of, like, before we had a heated space as part of the farm store, we were always, taking stuff in it. We have to do a temperature check on what's the overnight temperature going to be. What do we have to drag inside in order to drag out in the morning, etc. But now it's a year-round thing. And we would really welcome you to visit. We have our You Pick Strawberry Patch started and picked up after my namesake, Everett Hatch, who passed this past winter. I took over his operation, but moved it all basically to Gil. So we do our You Pick Strawberries is our big thing that we open with in the spring. We have a raspberry patch that we kind of close with in the fall. We grow peaches, grapes, all the winter squashes, pumpkins, potatoes, and what we can't grow, we basically get from our fellow farmers and sell that for them as part of our philosophy. So thanks.
Amazing. So despite what your program says, our next speaker is not Marty's Local founder, Nick Martinelli. Sandra Thomas is the Director of Marketing and Customer Support at Marty's Local, and was kind enough to stand in this morning as a body double for Nick when his kid's pool failed. Both Nick and Sandra come from the Berkshires, so she had quite the commute today. So we really want to thank her for being here. But if you're unfamiliar with Marty's Local, their warehouse is actually housed in Deerfield, but they work with over 100 farms and distribute across Western Massachusetts. They do some really incredible work. So they are really providing the critical link between suppliers and buyers, which, if you remember last year, Angie Facey of Our Family Farms Milk was talking about how difficult the delivery was, and then immediately started partnering with Marty's Local, and so many of our farmers do. I think everyone on the panel today partners with Marty's Local. So without further ado, Sandra.
Thank you, Jesse, for the invitation. It's our first chamber breakfast as well, and we're thrilled to see so many folks here, some familiar faces. Marty's Local, the mission of Marty's Local is to strengthen our food economy. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we do it. As Jesse mentioned, we work with over 100 regional farmers and food producers. And we carry everything from fruit and vegetables, meat and eggs, flour and grains, dairy and cheese, and specialty products like salsas and srirachas and granolas and chocolate and maple and anything you can think that's grown or developed in our region. We have a whole section of frozen items, raviolis and pierogies and dumplings. And just as of today, we're starting to carry seafood that is created by, there's a gentleman in the state who goes out to Alaska for the summer, and he catches fresh, he has a boat, he's a captain of a boat in the summer and works in the schools in the fall and winter. He catches fresh salmon, flash freezes it, and brings it back here, and we're starting to sell that today. We distribute, as Jesse mentioned, across the state, from central Massachusetts through western Massachusetts, down into the Hudson Valley of New York State, southern Vermont, and Connecticut. So we cover a large area. And being in South Deerfield is really key to meeting that geographic distance. And a lot of the farmers who we work with are right here in the valley, and that's very convenient to be able to pop over to Warner Farm and to other farms to pick up and get the fresh food. We don't carry a lot of food produce in inventory. A lot of our inventory is on demand, so our customers are ordering, and we're picking up from the farms regularly throughout the week to deliver the freshest produce that we can to our customers that's locally grown. In addition to our selling to retailers and institutions and food service customers, we also provide a service to our farmers here in the valley. We go to the New England Produce Center multiple times a week, and we're able to freight local produce out to the New England Produce Center in Chelsea and get it to those vendors who are then selling it to their customers. So we offer that service as well. One of the segments that we're excited to see some growth in the past year and a half is our K through 12 schools. Through the Northeast Food for School grant that schools received to additional dollars to purchase local foods, primarily minimally processed foods, so fruit, vegetables, tortillas, we work with Mi Tierra tortillas, yogurt, dairy, things like that. Schools have been able to bring in more local goods to their student population, which we are really thrilled about. We want to see local foods not only in the grocery stores and in our restaurants, but really feeding our community in many ways. That program is also fostered by Mass Farm to School, a statewide organization that does this work year-round. We're very nimble as an organization. We are small enough that we communicate efficiently and effectively every day, and when things happen at our farms where they're having issues with a crop, we can respond. When they have surplus of a crop, we can respond and reach out to our customers and really try to move product as best we can so that we can help our farmers, because our goal is to strengthen the local food economy. And if we're doing well, they're doing well. And so we want to support the challenges that they have, the successes they have, and put that out into the community to really support buyers buying food. Also educating our consumers around when there are environmental issues that impact crops. People are very used to getting things when they want it, but when there's a lot of rain and the peach crop is not good, we really work on trying to explain that so that they understand it's not that we don't have it, it's that the farmers faced a real loss during that time and couldn't provide it. So really building those connections around local food and our economy. And I think that's it. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy. It's great to see some of our partners here. Most people on this panel here. Dean's Beans is here. I see Just Roots, and I'm sure there are others here who are here at this breakfast who we also work with, and we appreciate all of your support.
And Marty's Local is one of the newest members of the chamber, so if you are interested in partnering with them from a buying standpoint, please talk to Sandra after the breakfast. So we are really committed to staying on time. Wendy was kind enough to volunteer to go last so she could modify her remarks accordingly. So without further ado, Wendy Ferris of CISA.
I wouldn't want to stand between anyone and their door prize today. So, I am curious though, how many farmers we have in the room today, because I saw a lot of familiar faces. So quick show of hands for farmers. It's so nice that farmers come to hear other farmers and support each other. And other people that are sort of professionally involved in the food system, the CDC and others. You know, there's a lot of folks in the room today with a lot of expertise. And then, of course, everyone that's involved in the food system, which is everyone here, because we're all local eaters. So I'm really here today with just two quick reminders. One, what we have here is incredibly special. The mix of the physical resource of our farmland, the human resource, the hundreds, thousands of farmers that are working this land every day to provide food for our table. What we have here in this region is out of this world special. Someone once told me, and it stuck in my head, I've never been able to prove it, but I'm going to share it with all of you, that the soils of the Connecticut River Valley are on par with the Nile River Valley. And Dave, do you remember what you told me when I asked you this? How deep your well digger had to go before they hit a rock in your soils?
It was deep. I can't remember the number off the top of my head though. We had, I think, 30 feet of topsoil.
30 feet is what stuck with me of topsoil. I mean, this is world-class land. And to have the people like Dave and his family that have dedicated their lives to growing food on it is really, really terrific. Never mind the businesses, the farm stands, the farmers markets, the grocery stores, and then a lot of other of you, the banks and the other businesses that support this work. So, thank you. And the other one is that just because it's special doesn't mean it's not vulnerable. Climate change is not an abstraction any longer to people that work the land. Droughts, floods, these things are real and are impacting people every single day. Labor markets, immigration, huge worldwide issues are coming, are playing out on farms. And things are not great for all the farms in our region. People are struggling. So it's just a reminder that it takes all of us to do what you're always doing, which is buying local and supporting farms to keep farms in business and keep the beauty of what we have here today viable and available for the future. So thank you all for everything you do. Thanks for being here today, and thanks, Jesse, for pulling us all together.
Doing this work for 26 years. Cliff was actually one of the founding members of CISA, and they work with 250 farms across Franklin County. They are doing incredible work. So I cannot overstate how grateful I am for them, for the Franklin County CDC, for all of our farmers who are here today. Thank you so much. I hope that we're all walking away with the understanding farming is important. Yes? We all like food, we all like farming. Great. I do have three quick asks of you. First, find a farmer and thank them for their work. That is your goal for today. Yeah, there we go. It's easy. You're sitting right next to me. Two, consider donating to CISA or another food systems organization you love, whether that's Just Roots or the Food Bank. There's so many great opportunities to help support this work and access for farm fresh food for everyone. And then three, find a way to support local. Stop by a farmer's market, stop by a farm stand. The chapstick that Cliff sells at Up and Gill is next level, I'm just saying. But find a way to support, because as Wendy just said, it is our collective responsibility to support the self-sufficiency and the food security that these farms are working towards. And then after you do all that, register for the Citizen of the Year breakfast, December 20th. It's on the back of your program. We are currently offering an early bird rate, so be like Claire from Greenfield Solar and register early. It's going to be a great one. It is the holiday breakfast, and the Greenfield Recorder unveils their Citizen of the Year. Who will it be? We don't know. It's going to be great. All right. Wade, you want to help me with the raffle? All All right, hopefully this raffle goes better than last time. Oh, okay, great. Do I put him in? Okay, okay. The raffle, if you came to the last breakfast, went a little rogue, so I'm feeling like the pressure's on to not mess it up this year. All right. So the first number, which I think we're gonna be giving away this CISA bag. Look how nice this is. You could put so many farm fresh items in that bag. 594-2961. Oh, great, a winner. I love winners. All right, so next we have a Mike's Maze hat, which if you win this, I'm gonna come find you after. This is the raffle prize for me. That number is 594-2875. I am gonna come see you. All right, next we have a holiday candle, which I know my friend Linda really wants. Let's see if luck's on your side. That number is 594-2995. Oh, great, Jane! Fantastic. All right, next we have a jug. Is that the appropriate word? Jug of Clarkdale cider? Quart? Great. Half gallon. Good. I nailed science. 594-2962. Yay! All right, and now we have some All States Materials Group brand maple syrup. This number is 594-2876.
Yes, we can put it back in.
Oh! You know what? Because I'm so glad we have Winners Day, we're gonna give you a special gift. You get to take home $100 to Greenfield Farmers Cooperative Exchange. That reaction was what I was going for. And of course, that was generously donated by Jeff, so thank you very much. All right, so the maple syrup is going to 594-2895. Did you win? Oh, good. All right, so again, thank you all for being here. Thank you to Greenfield Farmers Cooperative Exchange. Thank you to CISA. Thank you to Terrazas. Thank you to GCTV and to our volunteers. We will see you next week. Oh, and we'll see you Monday when we all celebrate bringing Northern Tier to Franklin.